High Talk Webb is back. What's going on? Quick rundown. Got a lot to go through today, so we'll probably break this up in two videos. Roll Tide, from Channing Tatum to Forrest Gump, our favorite Crimson Tide popular culture moments. Roll Tide, y'all. That's a big one you hear people say in the South from the ESPN commercial. It's something really good. You hear people say that all the time. It's just a slogan Alabama fans always say. Another big one was when Forrest Gump was running from those bullies, and Bear Bryant happened to catch him and said he wanted him on the team. And then he made that comment. It wasn't true, but he made a comment that, man, he must be the stupidest son of a bitch alive, but that boy can run. And he ran that TD back, against Tennessee in the game. And that was the whole movie was centered around Alabama. So if you're from Alabama and don't like Forrest Gump, shame on you. The iconic home, song that we always play at home games at Tuscaloosa, "Sweet Home Alabama," gets us fired up. Everybody loves it. Of course, which I mentioned earlier, the ESPN commercial, and also the 30 for 30 Roll Tide, War Eagle spreads the story of venom-filled rivalry, and it is and always will be. There's families that divide and separate on that day in the Iron Bowl. All right, let's get down to it. Alabama's fall camp position breakdown, offensive line. Okay, this is a projected kind of a mock offensive line breakdown. At left tackle, we've got Jonah Williams, redshirt freshman Scott Lashley. Left guard, we've got redshirt junior Pierce Bacher and redshirt junior Josh Casher. Those guys will probably both play. At center, we've got Bradley Bozeman and Hassanauer. Like I said, those are kind of locked up. Right guard, you've got Lester Cotton and Deontay Brown. Right tackle, you got redshirt sophomore Mac Womack. We're kind of waiting for him to break out. His brother was a stud at Alabama, so we're thinking he's coming along and he should get there. Interesting at right tackle as well, you have freshman Alex Leatherwood. I expect this kid to play. Heard really, really good things about him in the spring, so watch out for that guy. Also, you've got some other guys they're listed alphabetically. You got junior Elliott Baker, Hunter Brandon Kennedy, and freshman Chris Owens, and redshirt sophomore Rich Pettibon. He was a guy I was really high on last year, so I'm hoping this guy plays. I think he's got a lot of upside to him. Also, you've got Kendall Randolph and junior Dallas Warmack. Whew. So hopefully Warmack comes along, man. That's one guy I'm really hoping that would come along really good. Departures, you got Cam Robinson. He's hard to replace, obviously. Corey Curvin and Alphonse Taylor. Those guys are really solid for Bama, so there will be big bodies to replace and great athletes. The only summer rivals we have for the offensive line are Brennan and Willis. The outlook for Alabama for the starters, SEC Media Days early in their season, Nick Saban said 4 players showed during the spring practice that they could play winning football on the offensive line. So, while Saban didn't name those 4 that he was talking about, we're assuming, and I'm just going out on a limb here, we assume it's all ACC left tackle Jonah Williams, Rosh Pishbacher, and Bradley Bozeman. And the 4th was preseason 3rd all-ACC selection that was also there at SEC Media Days, Lester Cotton. So that's who I think those 4 guys are going to be, Williams, Bozeman, and Pishbacher, and Cotton. The other 2 guys that could fill those other 2 slots could be Matt Womack, and Deontay Brown. We think Deontay Brown is really, a lot of people are high on him. Womack is 6'7", 325. He's a wall of a man. A lot of people are high on Alex Leatherwood. I am too. So that could be another guy that could wind up jumping in there. Keep an eye. There's another kid. It wasn't really high heralded. Excuse me. That I think could be really good. Jarek Wills. Excuse me. He's 6'5" and 315. He's a mountain of a man as well. So keep that in mind. Let's jump on over to the defensive line breakdown. Okay, this is the projected depth chart entering the fall camp. Defensive end, obviously Shawn Hand. We're really waiting for him to have a breakout season. It was hard for him to break out when you had Tim Williams and Jonathan Allen, who were so dominant. You've also got freshman Quinn Williams. Nose tackle, you got Deron Payne, and also redshirt junior Johnny Dwight. Defensive end, also you have junior Isaiah Buggs and Raekwon Davis. Look for these 2 guys. I think they're really going to go on people's radars this year. Other defensive linemen, you got senior Josh Frazier, senior Vaughn Keith, senior Jamar King, freshman Fendarius Mathis. I think this kid's going to be good. Sophomore Daniel Powell, and look out for this kid, freshman LeBron Ray. And you got sophomore Taylor Wilson. LeBron Ray, I think, is going to be a stud in the future, so keep him on your radar. The departures we have to replace, this sucks. Jonathan Allen, Dalvin Tomlinson, Dakota Ball, and O.J. Smith. O.J.'s transferred to Minnesota. The summer rivals, you got Ray and Smith and Mathis. This is the outlook that they're projecting. I think is Alabama was one of the biggest areas of concern before Shawn Hand was arrested. I talked about the arrest in the last one, but if you didn't see the last video, basically he was sleeping in his damn car, not driving, with the keys just in the ignition, and he got a DUI. That's one of the biggest. That's one of the dumbest laws. That shouldn't even be a law. Like, you're sleeping in your car. How can you get a DUI? Like, you're in a car, but it's not moving, but you have the keys in it. That's just something to get people to get money. That's all it is. It's a joke. Deron Payne's a returning starter, so he's going to bring depth. Definitely, there's a lot of talent there on that defensive line. A lot of 4- and 5-star recruits. But they're just untested. That's the problem. We don't know they're not battle tested yet. So, like I said, Isaiah Buggs, I think big things to him. Raekwon Davis, I'll mention him again. Those guys are two guys to watch out for. LeBron and Ray as well. But I think you're going to see some veterans like Frazier and Dwight also play a lot as well. So look out for those guys. Bam! Next story. Josh Jacobs. Could he be Alabama's version of Kevin Faulk? Interesting. Like I said, we've said before, we think he's Kenyon Drake point due as well. So, like I said, I think he's ready to have more carries. He was a freshman, 18-year-old kid last year, filling in. He did really good things. Brian Daboll has shown he really likes a very mobile running back that can catch passes in the flat and take off. He's one of the fastest guys, probably top 10 guys on the team. He's very, very elusive. So I look for him to be, a lot of people lost him in the mix between Damian Harris and Bo Scarborough and even Najee Harris that's come in. But don't count this guy out, him or Brian Robinson. Don't count those guys out. Like I said, last year White accounted for when he played the Patriots running back accounted for 717 total yards, and he was the backup to LeGarrette Blount. Now Jacobs is only 5'10" and 212. He also benches 405 and squats 500, but he runs a 40-yard dash in 4.5. But like I said, don't count this guy out. He's very hard to take down. Like I said, he did a lot of great things. He ran for 564 yards and 4 touchdowns as a freshman. He was basically third screen scrub duty. He got 14 passes for 166 yards, and he can make plays when you think there's nothing there. And he did a lot of that last year. Very elusive. So just watch out for this guy. He did very well in the spring. 28 yards and 7 carries, and also caught 4 passes for 49 yards. So I see him moving out in the flat. I see him going over to receiver in certain play formations. Like I said, he also plays a lot of basketball for cardio, so the guy's in great shape. I think he's ready for a bigger role. New details, like I said, on Shawn Hand. We went over that earlier. He was sleeping in his car. He's being charged with a DUI. He was arrested at 4:30 a.m. On last Saturday morning, 1100 block, the University of Boulevard, close to the stadium. To me, it's excuse my language, it's a bullshit charge. It's absolutely stupid, and I think it should get thrown out. But whatever, it's the rules and the law, and he knew better, unfortunately. Saban was quoted as saying, "This type of behavior is not acceptable. We are not disappointed in Shawn Hand's actions. We are disappointed in his actions. We're still gathering information. We'll evaluate what we need to do as appropriate discipline as we move forward, and better choices and decisions can be made in the future." I agree. All right, on to better news. Alabama's fall breakdown at linebacker. We loaded at this position, guys, the jack position. You got Anthony Jennings, James Mosley. At the Mike position, you got Sean Dion Hamilton, SDH. That's what I call him. You got redshirt freshman junior Keith Holcomb. At the will position, you got Shawn Hand. You've got Dylan Moses and sophomore Mac Wilson. Watch out for that kid. Very, very good. I've been very high on him. At the Sam position, you got junior Christian Miller, sophomore Terrell Lewis, formerly Terrell Hall. Other linebackers, you got freshman Christian Allen, Freshman Mikhail Benton, redshirt sophomore Makai Brown, freshman. This is another guy I'm super high on. This guy could probably play fullback. He's that fast. He runs like a 4.5. Super fast guy. He's 6'4", 236. And also the redshirt freshman Ben Davis. Watch out for this guy, and Josh McMillan. We are absolutely loaded at linebacker. Yes, we have some high-end departures. Reuben Foster, Tim Williams, Ryan Anderson, Sean Jennings, transferred to South Alabama. Don't fret. We are absolutely loaded at linebacker. They just need to be more battle-tested. By the 5th game of the season. They will be. So don't worry about that. The summer rivals is Cowan and Allen and Benton. This is one of Alabama's biggest strengths, so don't fret there. Like I said, I know that Hamilton was coming off an ACL. He suffered in the SEC championship game. He'll be coming back. If he struggles with it mentally as part of the game, I think he'll be fine because he's got all those guys to pick up the slack. The one thing that Alabama's been really high on this kid Moses. They say this kid he's the do-it-all kind of linebacker. He can defend the run, pass coverage, and pass rusher. So look for Dylan Moses to make a pretty big impact on Alabama this year. Okay. Like I said, Saban mentioned, he mentioned Cowan is a very athletic upside freshman who could play inside linebacker, outside linebacker. He was a 4-star native in Florida that impressed a lot of people when he enrolled early in May. Like I said, I really think this kid is going to be amazing. Jennings is really good too, redshirt. Also, Miller is an athletic junior. There's just so much talent in that position that I think it's not going to be a big issue for Alabama in that aspect. Anyway, Tide Talk with Webb. I'm out.